don't do much reading myself, but I do have a favourite book. Great for propping up furniture. Or squashing cockroaches. But most people use it for things like...
Oh, John, quick. I think it's time. Just call the hospital.
What? Oh, no. Well, what's the number? Where's the book? I can't find the book. How are you feeling? You okay? Just a minute, I'll get a book.
Imagine life without the Sydney Telephone Directory, the good old white pages. More people read it than James Michener and Harold Robbins put together. 1.5 million copies, 3,500 million pages every year. It's as much a part of our daily life as the Milko. It's a big friend, and it's getting bigger all the time. Unlike most books, the Telephone Directory, whether it be the white pages or the yellow pages, doesn't tell a story in itself. But the story of how it comes together is both fascinating and exciting. I can't describe in words the sheer, gigantic size, the almost frightening dimensions of putting it together. But I can show you. So that's where we're going. On a trip around the biggest book in Australia, the Sydney White Pages. Looking down on all those man-made mountains of concrete and steel, it's hard to imagine that in fact a city is a fluid, ever-changing thing. New office blocks, hotels, homes and apartment buildings, industrial areas where once there were fields, high-rise, rising higher and higher. As industry grows more complex, as the urban area spreads to house an expanding population, so the telephone becomes the one indispensable link between millions of people. So we need more telephones, more exchanges like this one. Thousands of new cables must be laid and maintained, adding to a network already so vast that if you joined those cables together, they'd stretch from here to the sun. But how useful would all this be without these? This is where the story really starts. There are over 100 offices like these throughout Australia.
Right, if you'd like to sign there for me, Mr. Stone. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Judy. This application form showing how the customer wants his private or business details to appear in the directory starts the ball rolling. It's what I write here that will appear as my entry in the next directory. A copy of my application is then telexed to the directories branch, where one of their highly skilled editors processes it. If it has been incorrectly filled in, they'll contact me before completing a computer input form. Should I decide in future to change my entry, it is the editor here at Directories Branch that I would contact. Now the entry can be keyed into the gigantic computer system that controls not only the information contained in the directory, but as we'll see later, the printing of it too. This visual display unit enables the operator to check the entry as it's simultaneously translated into language the computer understands and can store. Now I'm ready to take my place with 1.5 million other names when the next directory is printed. But already my entry has gone to the Directory Assistance Centre. It's ironic that a vast number of calls to this centre are for numbers already listed in the directory.
Whose number did you want, please?
Castle Craig, 951157.
Cumberland newspapers are 635 0355.
Obviously it's important but the directory is kept right up to date between issues. In fact, a new book is out of date the moment it rolls off the presses. Why? Because new numbers and amendments are now coming out at a staggering nationwide rate of 6,000 every day. That's over 2 million a year. That's an enormous job, quite separate from producing the directory, but a vitally important part of keeping Australia talking. There's tremendous public interest in a new directory issue, and a lot of it centres around the cover. Let's face it, the telephone book will become a part of everybody's furniture for the next 12 months. This is Bob Shepherd. He's one of a team of graphic artists throughout Australia working on new cover designs for the 52 directories produced in Australia every year. Each year, telecom district area managers are given the opportunities to submit cover ideas which capture the natural beauty or highlight activities unique to their area. It's Bob's job to translate those ideas into cover designs. Also, each year, a closing date is set for entries for the new directory. In the case of the Sydney White Pages, on that final day, we'll receive around 15,000 applications, and all will have to be processed in the 2 weeks before the final computer run. Believe me, during these weeks there are only 2 speeds, full speed and flat out. It takes 16 hours to feed the endless list of names and numbers into the telecom computer. To me, that seems like a miracle. 1.25 million names, numbers, businesses, government departments in just 16 hours. But if you ask these computer experts, they'll tell you that's an awful lot of computer time for one run. Now this marvellous machine will produce on magnetic tape, much like your tape recorder at home, every piece of information required for the directory. Not simply the name and numbers, but margin settings, typeface, page numbers, headings. On this tape is everything you'll later find in the directory. Every piece of information for 2,500 pages. This is a computerized photo composition machine at one of Telecom's printing contractors. A long name for a complex piece of equipment which takes the magnetic tape with all that information, including my little entry, and magically converts it to a bromide copy. This copy is then photographed and a film negative of a new directory page produced. From these negatives, printing plates will be made for the massive rotary presses. Did you know it takes around 5,500 tons of this stuff to make 2 volumes of the Sydney White Pages alone? And it's a rather specialised type of paper. People are famous for giving the old White Pages a hard time. It must last for a year, and that means it's got to be tough. But it also has to be fine, or the book will be as heavy as a barrow of bricks and twice as thick. It also needs a hard surface, so that the ink doesn't blot during printing, or tear as those thousands of fingers scramble for a number. As mile upon mile of paper roars through the presses, we plunge back into the world of staggering statistics. The Sydney metropolitan area alone needs nearly 1.5 million directories. These massive machines will have to churn out 3,500 million pages in the next 30 days. And I'd have $1 each way, but not one of them will be the same as last year. Apart from the listing of thousands of telephone numbers, the White Pages also contains a wide range of information to help customers obtain the best use of their telephone service. Special coloured information pages include lists of telecom business offices, recorded information services like the time, weather, news, details of government department and community service groups and organisations. Additional information is provided in 9 different languages to help non-English speaking people. A simple index shows customers how to find what they want quickly and easily. To anyone like me who's put a footy club or a P&C magazine together on the kitchen table, this part of the process is real magic. A giant collating machine assembles the millions of printed sections. The sections are bound and the covers added to complete each directory. Short back and sides, thanks. Not too much off the top. The powerful guillotine can trim 3 sides of each book simultaneously. And so the job's done. A gigantic, almost impossible job. But like watching a great sportsman, all things done with skill and confidence begin to look easy till you try it. And we've just been looking at the Sydney white pages. There are 51 more to go, and even the process to produce next year's version of this has already begun. Hey, wait, hang on a minute. Hey! Oh well. It doesn't matter, because mine and every other telecom customer's book in Sydney will be delivered personally within the next 8 weeks. Here we are. They've arrived. Have a look at the S's. Yeah. Stevens. Stewart. Stiletto. Stone. Here we are. You know, when you're in here, you sort of feel as though you've arrived. Right?